Good evening. I am Cassie Klinger, your moderator for this League of Women Voters candidate event for Winona County Commissioner candidates District 3 and 4. Our 2024 Voter Service Forum co-sponsors are Advocacy Center of Winona, AAUW Winona Branch, Engage Winona, Project Fine, and Winona State University Department of Social Work. We are providing this forum via government access on channels HBC 19 and Spectrum Channel 287. The public is invited to be in attendance here in City Hall. We thank the City of Winona for allowing us to hold this educational forum in the council chambers and the use of staff and technical assistance with this forum. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan volunteer organization organized at the local, state, and national level to encourage citizens to become educated and participate in government. While we as a league do study and take stands on issues, we do not endorse or support political parties, candidates, or tell the voters how to answer referendum questions. If provided, we will read opening statements from candidates who are unable to attend the forum. For our home viewing audience, you may call in questions to be considered this evening by calling 507-457-8280. A volunteer will write up your question and bring to the question facilitator table. This evening, we welcome the candidates for the Winona County Commissioners, Districts 3 and 4. Josh Elsing for District 3, who is not able to attend. And then from District 4, we have Gerald Hettenbach and Greg Olson. Please review your sample ballot before going to the polls so you will know which district you live in. You can find your sample ballot online at either the League of Women Voter Services Guide, vote411.org, or at the Minnesota Secretary of State's mnvotes.gov. Tonight's forum is intended to provide the voters with information so they can make an educated choice on the ballot. The views expressed in this educational forum are those from the candidates. The League of Women Voters Winona participation policy and ground rules were provided to the candidates with their invitation to attend. This is a live cable TV broadcast. The public was invited to submit questions for the candidates through the League of Women Voter Winona email site on its Facebook page. Question facilitators from the League of Women Voters and its co-sponsors viewed the questions, and the League of Women Voter moderator has final selection of questions to the candidates. This forum is being taped, may not be edited, and must be broadcast in its entirety and in accord with all FCC regulations. The League of Women Voters will determine the questions to be asked, and attempts in good faith will be made to cover all areas of interest expressed in advance of the forum by the public. The candidates will not know the questions in advance. Questions that are hostile, partisan, embarrassing, inappropriate, or of a personal nature will not be asked. Questions on similar topics may be grouped. All questions will become the property of the League of Women Voters. Our timekeeper for this evening is Wendy Draves. Candidates will strictly observe the time limits on responses. The timekeeper will hold up cards to indicate that time is about to expire. Once the stop card is displayed, candidate will stop at the end of the current sentence. Candidates will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, 1 minute to answer a question, and 1 minute for a closing statement. The candidates with us today, if you could please say your name and introduce yourself, which will also kind of test the sound. We'll start. Go ahead, Gerald.
Hello, I am Gerald Hettenbach.
Greg Olson.
Thank you. We will have a rotation of who answers the questions, and I will address the candidates by their full name. We would like to begin with opening statements. Our first speaker will be Gerald Hettenbach. So Gerald, when you are ready, you can start your opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum and for the opportunity to share my vision with you tonight. My name is Gerald Hettenbach. I am honored to be a candidate for County Commissioner in District 4 here in Winona. I live here with my wife, Valerie, who has dedicated 17 years of teaching to special ed at the Lewiston Elementary School. Together, we are raising 3 wonderful children, Breton, who is 8, Hattie, who is 5, and our newest addition, Beckett, who is just shy of a month old. I am also a proud graduate of Winona State University, where I earned my bachelor's degree in business and administration in 2009. Today, I am a small business owner in our community, serving as an associate broker at Coldwell Banker, managing a portfolio of rental properties and running 2 laundromats here in Winona. Growing up, I was raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs as a Methodist minister and a school teacher. She instilled in me the values of listening first, showing compassion, doing my homework, and making thoughtful decisions. These principles guide my life and will guide my service if elected county commissioner. Thank you for being here this evening, and I look forward to discussing how we can work together for a brighter future in Winona County.
Thank you. Greg Olson?
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and everyone that makes this forum possible, as well as all of you for attending. My name is Greg Olson. I'm running for re-election for Winona County Commissioner, District 4. I'm a Winona native, the youngest of 8 children, and a native of the district I serve. My family includes my fiancee Tracy, my son Taylor, my daughter Bailey, my stepson Jacob, and of course our rescue dog Coda. I am running for re-election to continue my service to the residents of Winona County with a special focus on District 4. My education and professional experience collectively position me as the strongest candidate. Throughout my 4 terms, I have consistently been a champion for the environment, our natural resources, and promoting sustainable practices. I have served on various boards and committees throughout my life, such as co-chair of Friends of Winona Parks, board member of SEMCAC, Winona County EDA, and local Workforce Development Board, just to name a few. A quote from Hubert H. Humphrey summarizes my approach to county government. It was once said that the moral test of government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped. I have supported such programs in a fiscally conservative manner to help ensure that our limited resources can be utilized most efficiently. I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th to continue my work for Winona County.
Thank you. And thank you, candidates, for your opening statements. We are now ready for our first audience question. And our first question will go to Greg Olson. Why did you decide to run or rerun for office?
We have many pressing issues at the county that I want to continue to see through to fruition. Currently, we're working on a large-scale dog breeding prohibition, which we hope to get through. I have been a consistently fiscally responsible commissioner, holding our services in high service to the public and the cost at an effective and efficient delivery. Thank you.
Thank you. Gerald Hettenbach?
Hey, can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. Why did you decide to run or rerun for office?
Thank you for the question. I am looking to give back to Winona. I love Winona. I am raising my family here in Winona. And I follow giving my time and my energy to running as county commissioner and tackling these pressing issues in Winona was the best way that I could give back to the city and this community in our county. So that is why I chose to run for county commissioner.
Thank you. Next question, and we'll start with you again, Gerald Hettenbach. What are the most important challenges facing our county, and how do you propose to address them?
Again, thank you for the question. I think our biggest challenge currently is using our resources effectively in the county. So currently we are looking at a levy where we are looking to raise taxes in Winona County. And there's going to have to be some decisions made. Preliminary right now, we're looking at a 9% tax levy. So I think that is one of the biggest issues our county is currently facing.
Thank you. Greg Olson?
Repeat the question, please.
Yes. What are the most important challenges facing our county, and how do you propose to address them?
Well, currently we're working through the budget to finalize for next year. The county employees, our insurance was hit with a 30%, 28.7% increase. And so we have to come up with a shortfall by raising the levy. And we try to do so. We have very valuable county employees who get cost of living increases. They have benefits. We value our employees because they deliver the services to the citizens of Winona.
Thank you. All right, next question. How will you advocate for Winona County at the state and federal levels for funds for healthcare, transportation, and housing? And we'll start with you again, Greg Olson.
We meet with the legislature every year, and it's kind of the same old story. Is we ask for them to pay for the state mandates that the county's services provide, and we still get the same answer that we have to make up for the shortfall. So we do meet with them. We do reach out to them. Mr. Jacob, that was just here, Chairman Miller, and the rest of them.
Thank you. Gerald Hettenbach?
Hey, Cassie, can you repeat the question one time?
Yes. How will you advocate for Winona County at the state and federal level for funds for healthcare, transportation, and housing?
I will advocate in any way that I can for any funds that will come in to Winona County. I will reach out to any legislators, any leaders up in St. Paul to advocate any chance that we can get money down here in Winona is going to be a win for our community and our county.
Thank you. All right, next question. What do you believe the county's role is in promoting soil health and water quality? Gerald, we'll start with you again.
So I think the county is responsible to make sure that we do have great water quality and soil health with water quality. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we have adequate testing for wells to make sure that we have clean drinking water for our constituents in our county. And then also monitoring our soil health. I think it's our responsibility to do that so we have sustainable farming going into the future.
Thank you. Greg?
Could you repeat the question, please?
You bet. What do you believe the county's role is in promoting soil health and water quality?
In my lifetime, Winona County we've experienced over 1/3 of our rural wells have been contaminated with excess nitrates. So we have a big role to play. This is the people that live here, the water that they drink, and the land that we all live on. So our role is to protect our natural resources.
Thank you. Next one, and we'll start with you again, Greg. We have a new jail in Winona County. What do you think of it and the services it provides? And then also the proposed sales tax increase to pay for it.
The jail was built because the state condemned our old one. We were hauling people to Houston County, which was not efficient or safe. So we did build a jail, and it was built with the purposes of helping with mental health. We have intake workers that can guide arrestees through the process of getting the help they need and hopefully leave the jail as a better citizen. The local option sales tax is one method that we can use that'll bring in $10.5 million from outside the county to pay for it.
Thank you. Gerald?
I don't have very many thoughts on the jail. I know it's really big. And I know it was built, it's new, state of the art. So that's my thoughts, but how do we pay for it? I absolutely support the referendum to pay for this jail. I think it'll take the burden off our property taxes here in Winona, and I'm a huge advocate for getting that referendum passed for this coming election.
Thank you. Okay, and here's one that was submitted by our Facebook page. On 9/24, the board voted to set the 2025 preliminary levy at 9%, which requires an estimated cost reduction of $1.6 million to programs that are supported by the levy. Over the next 3 months, the board and county staff will focus on closing the $1.6 million gap, which will impact funding for many local Local Winona nonprofits. These nonprofits include Advocacy Center, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Selco, Project Fine, Primary Prevention Project, and more. How would you propose Winona County provide services that these nonprofits give to our community? And Gerald, we'll start with you.
Well, closing that gap, I would prefer us to look at everything. I would not like to see those funds getting taken away from community service that provides services to our constituents in our community. By the time that this goes through, if I am elected, I won't be part of these conversations. I'll be part of the conversations on the next budget. But again, I would look at this whole thing holistically to see where we can cut from. And again, if we can maintain those services that our community truly needs, I would prefer that.
Thank you.
I take calls every day. It could be part of the conversation of the budget now. The preliminary levy, and by the time we get to the final levy, it's a typical process every year where we whittle it down. I support every program you mentioned. I've been a big supporter of every program. When we partner with our community, we gain help and resources with our agencies.
Thank you. Next one. What can you do for helping family farms? Greg, we'll start with you.
I was recently endorsed by the the Land Stewardship Action Fund as an advocate for small farms. So I went through a questionnaire, went through a process with them. You can certainly see my answers on their page.
Thank you. Joe?
Hey, can you repeat the question, Cassie?
Sure. What can you do for helping family farms?
The number one thing that I could do is listen. Family farms are small businesses and they go through their own set of unique challenges. So listening to those challenges and advocating that those small family farms can stay in the family. I know that, a big push right now are these family farms going away, especially in Winona County. Our land is really valuable, and I would like to see generation after generation of farmers stay farming. It's a way of life, and it's a proud way of life, and we have a lot of good family farms here in Winona. So number one, I would listen to them, and then I would advocate to their needs.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll come back with you again, Gerald. What are your goals you wish to achieve if you are elected?
So I have three goals I've been talking to my constituents in my district about. And number one is economic prosperity. I would like to see the economics be very strong here in Winona. I'd like to see small businesses here. I want to see a population that increases with working families that are bringing money into our economy and our system here in Winona. Number two, I want to have our government be more fiscally responsible and more transparent. And again, working through the budget and making decisions and keeping essential resources in place. And number three, I want to work towards protecting the environment. So I moved here because Winona is a beautiful place. Me and my kids, we enjoy outdoor activities here in Winona. We trout fish, we hunt, we fish, we ski, and do all those activities. So I want to see protections on the environment. And not only that, I feel that our environment here is our economic driver in how we bring tourism and people actually being here in Winona.
Thank you. Greg?
Just repeat it, please.
Sure. What are your goals you wish to achieve if you are elected?
I want to continue partnering with our nonprofits, our local community partners. We do have transparency in our government through, we have a software program, open.gov. Anybody can go online, they can look at our budget, they can interact with the commissioners, they can offer suggestions. And I want to continue with my strong environmental protection, protecting the bluffs and protecting our groundwater.
Thank you. And then we'll come back to you again on the next question. Give examples of how you have been able to work productively with those who do not share your opinion.
I listen. I think that God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth for that reason. And I'm open to suggestions. Every meeting, I try to reach a consensus.
Thank you. Gerald, same question.
Yeah, I do the same. I listen. And not only do I listen to that person or individuals, I go and do research. If they are telling me something and I disagree with it, it could be something that is true that I have to do my own research on. So I don't get mad, and I looked at every conflict or any disagreement objectively, and work through those.
Thank you. Next one. What are your thoughts about a combined facility for city and county law enforcement? Gerald.
So my thoughts are, I want to know what the lowest cost option is going to be to maintain a good police force in Winona. If that is to build a new police station with combined facilities, I am for that. I think it needs an analysis of where, if building a new facility is going to be cheaper in the long run, I would be for it. But before I would be for it, I want to know these things. I want to know, how it's going to be paid for. I don't want to just build it and then not have a plan for how to pay for it. And then B, if we have these existing facilities here, how are they going to be used? But again, if the lowest cost option is to create the new facility, I would be for that. But again, that would be something that needs to be analyzed.
Thank you. Greg?
So we are currently exploring that option. And it's imperative that local governments work together. We can't each do our own thing and be efficient and effective. The current location is not suitable for the Winona Police Department. They have determined that, so we are exploring options to hopefully partner together in the same facility or go our separate ways.
Thank you. Next one. Roads and bridges are an important part of the county's work. How would you rate the road infrastructure in Winona County, and what ideas do you have to improve them if necessary? Greg?
The county implemented a half-cent sales tax several years ago. That raises about $3.7 million a year, which is used strictly for the roads in the county. It's not enough. Our roads are deteriorating faster than we can repave them. The inflationary cost to repair a road and to rebuild a road outpaces our ability to have enough funding. So it's a work in progress.
Thank you. Gerald?
Hey, Cassie, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Roads and bridges are an important part of the county's work. How would you rate the road infrastructure in Winona County, and what ideas do you have to improve them if necessary?
So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give our roads and bridges and our infrastructure here a 7. I've traveled a lot of county roads and a lot of city roads. I would like to see us have 10 on our bridges and our roads. And if possible, I'd like to see funds going to those projects, but I would want to evaluate each project to its significance. Some roads need attention right away, and those are roads that we need to get moving on, like this year or next year. But I would grade each project and then work our way through each one of those.
Thank you. Okay. How would you protect the bluffs and natural environment in Winona County? Gerald.
So I would absolutely not build inside the bluffs. I love going outside and seeing the darkness and the natural beauty of our bluffs. So I would be a huge advocate for not building on the bluffs. So I think that would be the biggest thing. I am okay with the bluff setback currently in place. I think, again, our biggest economic driver here in Winona is the beauty of Winona, and I would want to keep that intact so we can keep people coming here to Winona and people moving here to Winona, because our natural beauty is our biggest, like I said, economic driver.
Thank you. Greg?
Well, I have been an advocate, had voted on a frac sand mining ban, the bluff protection and the setbacks from our bluff tops, and protecting our water. I have supported the Soil and Water Conservation District and the buffer zones to protect our streams and freshwater resources. So I've been doing that for years.
Thank you. Okay, next one. If elected, how will you stay in touch with your constituents and keep a pulse on what's important? Greg?
Every commissioner has listed on the website our number, our email addresses. We are all on committees where we meet several times a week, where people can give input at any time. So we're very accessible.
Thank you. Gerald?
I will make myself accessible at any time for any of my constituents in my district. A large part of District 4 lies in Winona's, with Winona State and the students at Winona State. And I'll actively be involved with the students at Winona State. Again, as a Winona State graduate, I'm a huge advocate for the students at Winona. I want to see Winona State grow. If Winona State grows and it prospers, that's going to be good for Winona. So again, I'm going to make myself available to any of the constituents in my district, and I plan on being, if elected, on plenty of committees and part of organizations to get the pulse of my district.
Thank you. And this one will come back to you with Gerald. Thousands of dogs are bred and raised by commercial breeders in Minnesota. The state licenses and inspects these breeders, yet the public knows nothing about the conditions in which the dogs are kept because the state has classified inspection and enforcement info as secret. Do you think consumers who can spend thousands of dollars for a purebred puppy should have access to info regarding the conditions in which that puppy was raised? Gerald, we'll start with you. Sorry.
Sure. So I think any consumer should have access to anything that they buy, especially a dog or something that, they are going to take home. They'd want to see what that access or what that puppy was raised in. So yeah, I would be okay with consumers knowing what conditions those dogs did come from.
Thank you. Greg?
With the current licensing of the facilities, the county just does a land use permit. The state and federal government does the regulatory inspections. Testimony throughout the years since 2016, I've been working on a ban on new dog breeding operations, that even in a perfectly licensed facility that's inspected, it doesn't take care of the dog's mental health, and they are affected for the rest of their lives.
Thank you. All right. What are your thoughts regarding the animal unit cap? Do you support the current animal cap? If not, what would you propose? Greg, we'll start with you.
The animal unit cap has been in place well before I was ever elected. I have supported it.
Thank you. Gerald?
I am in support of the current animal unit cap. I've been talking to people that it affects, and I've had nobody come to me and say that they're for or against it. It's kind of not an issue that I'm hearing in my district currently or amongst my constituents, but I am totally okay with where the animal cap unit is currently. But if I was a county commissioner and it did come up, it's not something that I would bring up. But if it did come up, I would look at it objectively. I would listen to everybody that's involved, and then I would do my own research. And then if I found that it would have any effect on the environment, a negative effect, or any negative effect on the economics of our farming community, I would be not supportive of doing anything with the animal cap.
Thank you. How can the county board both support county staff and provide accountability? Gerald, we'll start with you.
So we would listen to the county staff, and then obviously the staff members in any organization have managers. So we would listen to those managers too, and we would work through any issues that we had with the staff. And with those managers, you would ask that they do hold their employees accountable and the county accountable. So, yep.
Thank you. Greg?
So our county staff is in place to serve our citizens. I have supported our staff. They work in areas of child protection, our courts, our county attorney's office, our law enforcement. And we need to compensate our employees and take care of their health care.
Thank you. Next question. Do you support the concept of a financial advisory committee that was discussed at today's board meeting? And Greg, we'll start with you.
I was asked this at a previous forum. The county board serves as the financial oversight. We determine the budget, we look through the budget, and we work with our professional staff. We have an administrator, we have a finance director. We have trained professionals that serve in that capacity, and the buck stops with us.
Thank you. Gerald?
Hey, Cassie, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Do you support the concept of a financial advisory committee that was discussed at today's board meeting?
I do. I would support any initiative that we have individuals that want to give their time to advise the board. Anybody that's willing to give up their time and their resources to look at things that the board's doing and then again give us tips or any advisement, I think is a good thing in government.
Thank you. Next one. Do you support the diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda in public school and elsewhere? Gerald, we'll start with you.
I don't know about that in our public schools. I haven't done enough research in it, so I do not have an opinion on that at this time. But I do know that it's worked in corporate settings. So if it works in some settings, great. If it doesn't work in other settings, then I would say let's scrap that. But again, in schools, I don't have an opinion on that because I haven't done my research.
Thank you. Greg?
Well, the county board doesn't have any say in what happens in our schools. Personally, I do support it.
Thank you. Okay. How will you advocate for tenants, especially young families and students? Greg, we'll start with you.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How will you advocate for tenants, especially young families and students?
For tenants?
Tenants. Yep.
Okay. Well, interestingly, I served as a rental inspector for 17 years. I testified in court for the tenants. There were some bad landlords at times that were taking advantage of our students. It left a bad impression for the parents who sent their students to Winona State University. And so I was an advocate for the tenants.
Thank you. Gerald?
So I am currently a landlord here in Winona, and I will advocate for the students and young families the same way that I currently do. I'll be a great landlord. I'll have a good product that I have for my tenants, and I will keep advocating for the continued development of really nice apartments here in Winona that are a good product for not only our students, but for young families and our working class here in Winona.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Winona County has both rural and urban populations. How would you meet the needs of both groups? What about in the area of zoning and planning? And Gerald, we'll start with you again.
I would listen to both groups, and then I would be part of committees, and I would ask questions of what their needs are here in Winona, whether it's zoning needs or land use needs. I would listen to those needs, and I would advocate for those needs.
Thank you. Greg?
Again, I worked in the zoning office in the city of Winona for 17 years. Strong zoning builds strong communities. So I do support zoning laws that are reasonable, that are able to be adjusted in certain circumstances. But I do support strong zoning rules.
Thank you. Next question. During COVID, we learned how important public health is for the county. The department has been decreased over the years. How can you support public health and their programs? And Greg, we'll start with you.
So as a board member, you're sworn, you have an oath of office, and you must uphold Minnesota Department of Health rules regarding public health. I have always done that. I've advocated for public health. I wore a mask. I supported mask wearing.
Thank you. Gerald?
Hey, Cassie, repeat the question.
Yes. During COVID, we learned how important public health is for the county. The department has been decreased over the years. How can you support public health and their programs?
So I would advocate for public health here in Winona. I understand that if we have a healthy community of resources that bring health here into Winona County, that will be a better county for that. So that is how I would advocate for it.
Thank you. Okay. Olmsted County Soil and Water Conservation District has introduced a program with strong incentives for our crops, which is improving water quality. Would you support increased funding for Winona County's Soil and Water Conservation District for a similar program? Covered crop? Okay. Incentives for cover crops. Gerald?
Yes, I think cover crops are a great thing. And I've learned a lot about agriculture running for county commissioner here. So yeah, I would support an increased funding for initiatives like cover crops to maintain our healthy farming environment here in Winona County.
Thank you. Greg?
I do support the cover crops and sustainable agriculture. However, the funding is a burdensome thing that you have to find and advocate at the state level to bring funding into Winona County.
Thank you. How do you see local government aid impacting local citizens? And Greg, we'll start with you.
Local government aid.
Yes.
So the state does allocate resources to local governments, to City of Winona, LGA, to Winona County. It's imperative that we continue to see that money coming into Winona County.
Thank you. And Gerald? Yeah, I would like to see any aid that we can give our citizens in need. So I would support and advocate for those aids, especially if it comes from our state level. I'd be an advocate for getting those state funds here into the hands and to the people that need it here in our community.
Thank you. And our last question of the night. We'll start with Gerald on this one. Do you support an appointed versus elected county auditor treasurer position?
I support an elected county auditor position. I feel that it's an elected position, and yeah.
Thank you. Greg?
Yeah, we have a couple different elected positions that can be appointed through a process with the state. I've always supported the election process.
Thank you. We are nearing the end of our forum. We would like to ask each candidate to present a 1-minute closing remark. And with this, we will begin with Greg.
As this summer ends, I'm reminded that on average, each of us in this room is gifted 76 summers, and we can take nothing with us. It is the world we leave behind that truly matters. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event and all of you for attending. I would like to continue serving as Commissioner of District 4, and I hope I have earned your continued support. You can find out more about me at vote411.org. Winona County, Greg Olson for Winona County Commissioner on Facebook. Call me anytime. Again, I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th to continue my work for Winona County.
Thank you. And Gerald.
So thank you to the League of Women Voters for organizing this forum and giving us the opportunity to share our visions for the future. Also, thanks for everyone for their great questions tonight. It's clear to me that our community is ready for a new wave of energy and ideas, and I believe I can provide just that. Together, we can work towards a brighter, more sustainable future here in Winona County. One that preserves our environment, our economy, and strengthens our community. As we come together here tonight, let us also keep in our thoughts and prayers those in Florida, and also those struggling with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Thank you, and I humbly ask for your vote.
Thank you. We are at the end of our time for this forum. We want to thank all the candidates for an informative event. The League of Women Voters would also like to thank all of our co-sponsors. Advocacy Center of Winona, AAUW Winona Branch, Engage Winona, Project Fine, and Winona State University Department of Social Work. We would also like to thank HBC for taping this educational forum. We will upload a recording to our Facebook page by Friday. Please join us for the following forums, starting with next Tuesday, October 15th. We'll have forums for soil and water conservation supervisors at 6 p.m. and Winona Area School Board at 7:30 p.m. Our final forum will be held on Tuesday, October 22nd for Winona Mayor and City Council at 6 p.m. The public is encouraged to attend and submit questions for the candidates. Vote411.org is an online voter guide to the candidates that will be on your ballot. This site was developed by the National League of Women Voters and supported by Minnesota League of Women Voters and local branches. This is an online voter guide where voters can compare candidates' answers on issues important to the election. The website will provide the information on candidates that are on your ballot in your precinct. Check it out, vote411.org. You can also find information on registering to vote, a sample ballot, and polling places. If you need additional information on becoming a registered voter, call the Winona County Auditor Treasurer or the Winona City Clerk. Minnesota does have registration at the polls. If you are not pre-registered to vote, you may register at the polls. Check mnvotes.gov or vote411.org for more information on voting and what you need to register at the polls. Note, you can vote by mail or in person at the Winona County Building on 3rd Street. Early voting began on Friday, September 29th, and will continue through Monday, November 4th. The Winona County Auditor Treasurer's Office is open during regular business hours to obtain an absentee ballot or in-person early voting. Please vote. The general election is on Tuesday, November 5th. The polls are open from 7 a.m. through 8 p.m. Thank you again for attending. Let's give a round of applause for our candidate.